Let's try to get through these quick. Pickups from Japan. I believe these are Kit Kats you can't get outside of Japan. I got these raspberry Kit Kats. Shinshu apple. Apple flavored. I haven't even tried any of these because I've been sick. I don't want to eat chocolate when I'm sick. Azuki sandwich. If you've ever had Azuki flavored ice cream or anything like that, the sweet red bean. But it's like a sandwich apparently. My friends who have tried this have told me it's very good, but I haven't had any. Hokkaido melon. I guess one of the famous things from Hokkaido, like the northernmost region of Japan, is their dairy stuff. And so this is like, it's got mascarpone, like mascarpone cheese or something. I think that's how you say it. Mascarpone cheese? I'm not sure. That's Japanese, so I don't know how to say it. But anyway, mascarpone or mascarpone cheese, whatever. It's Italian, I don't know. I haven't had this, but apparently it's melon and cheese, and I don't know, maybe it's good. It looks good, I love melon. Rum raisin, like last year I had the sake flavored. These ones actually have alcohol in them. I was gonna bring a bunch for my coworkers, and then I read that it had alcohol, and I was like, I cannot bring that to work, so I didn't. I'd like to keep my job. Strawberry cheesecake. I almost got one of these at the 5th station at Mount Fuji, because it is Mount Fuji shaped. I'm like, oh man, if this is only sold at Mount Fuji, but I decided to hold out, and luckily it was sold in Odaiba as well. So very cool. I just like the packaging. I don't even know if they're good. I have so many other food items and candy and stuff. I'm just not gonna waste your time with it. There's a lot of cool things, but it's too much. So I'm just gonna avoid that. I got like some squid and octopus crackers and stuff. Very cool, but no, I'm gonna show you, because probably not that cool. Went to a Tower Records in Shibuya, I think it was, and I just love Tower Records. There's like not any record stores you can really go to in America so much anymore. Everything's online now, but I just love to go. Each floor is a different genre of music. I went last year and I spent hundreds of dollars. This time was no different. I'm a huge fan of Cornelius. I will say he's probably the best concert I've ever seen. He came to Boulder in 2006 and just blew me away. It was for his album Sensuous. Anyway, he's got a new album out, and it dropped like 2 days before I went to Japan. It's called Mellow Waves. And I also saw a bunch of magazines that were featuring him because of his new album. It was his first album in 11 years. And so this was a big deal that he came out with this. So I bought this magazine that I probably can't read for the most part, and another book all about Cornelius. And I'm sure I can't read that as well. And then I got this Cornelius Plus idea. I guess it's some kind of art and music and stuff all together. Oh, so cool. I didn't even look at it yet, but there was a CD in the back that I wanted to check out. I had asked the lady if it was a different than the album, and it is just a single track, kind of an ambient track. So I didn't like that as much as I did the album itself. And as far as the album goes, honestly, it's nice to have Cornelius back, but it isn't my favorite release of his. I kind of like his older stuff. I mean, if you want to hear like an awesome album, Phantasma is incredible. I mean, pretty much everything he's done is cool, and it is in the typical style. I think my favorite track on this album here is number 10? Oh, 9, The Rain Song. Really liked that. Cornelius, a lot of stuff. I didn't even know, I don't pay attention to news about anything. Oh, look how pretty that is. Constellations of Music by Cornelius. Look at it, it's like a starry sky, so cool. Part of that's the disc in the background, by the way, and then there's a silver sheet in the background to make that. But I've only listened to a couple tracks so far. I haven't had a chance to listen to all of it, but the first track, Escalator Step, was very cool. Looks like compilation of music from Cornelius and other artists, but very cool. I've dug what I've heard so far. Those 2 tracks are really good. Designa. This is done by Cornelius. Obviously a cool design. It's got the Japanese hiragana for A. This won an award for design. There's the A. Very cool. It's Japanese. This was a soundtrack that Cornelius did for some kind of NHK program. It was like geared towards kids or something like that. I haven't seen it, so I don't really know a lot about it, but you know, the vowel A appears quite often in this album, and it's kind of his usual like chopping up of lyrics. I mean, Japanese is very syllabary-ish, a lot of syllable stuff, so he kind of focuses on like, he says one syllable and then he says it again, and like it's very chopped up, but he uses those to complete a word, and it's kind of, you'd have to hear it sort of thing, but very cool. Meta 5. I was excited when I saw this because I saw that Toa Te was on there, or Te Toa. And also Cornelius is on this, so I guess he's one of the 5. It's really kind of interesting album. I don't know how to describe it. There's a lot of singing, and I'm not really a big fan of the singing and that kind of thing. I'm usually like electronic and that kind of stuff. So not a lot of these tracks really grab me. They're very cool, it's very unique, but I really like the second track, Love You Tokyo, but it's mostly the electronic part at the beginning that I dig, so awesome. Speaking of Toa Te, emo, or yeah, it's emo. It's actually emo. But it's like emo, you know. In any case, this is a really new album. It came out this year. I'm not sure exactly when. No, it came out March. of this year. I don't know what I want to say about this, but there's a couple tracks on here that I just simply don't like. One would be YOLO, which I mean, you know, say no more, I guess, but there's a remix of GBI, which is German Bold Italic. This is like a track that he did in like 95 or something, back from Future Listening. So it's kind of, it's redone, and with Kylie Minogue? I had no idea. I had no idea that was on it. But anyway, it's interesting. I mean, it's Toate, which I like, but not my favorite album of his. This is not Japanese, but there was a lot of advertising about it, and they pretty much said it was kind of like an 80s period, kind of like they compared it to 80s period music and Boards of Canada, which immediately sounded good, but it's Comtruce, which obviously if you flip the C and the T, it's Tom Cruise. I've heard of Comtruce before. I thought it was really cool when I heard it, and for whatever reason I never picked anything up by Comtruce, but it's an awesome album. I can't remember which track I really liked, but yeah, it kind of has that that retro future wave kind of, what I say, like Outrun sort of feel to it. I kind of understand what they're talking about with the Boards of Canada thing, but not the best comparison, I suppose, because it really is just kind of like its new genre of, you know, I guess you'd say Outrun style music. Very cool. Street drums. This was my last night in Japan. We were walking by Shinjuku Station. We saw this guy on drums. He's basically drumming away to an acid, like an acid electronic soundtrack, and he was just drumming along with that, and everyone was like, you know, gathering around, really impressed with his stuff. It says hashtag street drums featuring Javi Perez. I was just one Japanese guy, so I'm not sure about that, but I guess this is like a coordinated effort, something about Street Drums London or something. I don't know. When you see the video, you'll see it says, please hashtag street drums. I guess it's like a bigger movement. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I don't know what the deal is with this, but there'll be a link or something. Very cool. I really liked what I saw when I was outside of Shinjuku Station, but this album is very rocky, and it's like rock, you know, which I'm not a huge rock guy personally, but the last track I liked, it was like crazy flamenco guitar or something like that. Very cool. Overall, not my favorite. Really like that last track. Day Day Mouse. I talked about Day Day Mouse last year, picked up some of the stuff at that time, and this is a newer album, I believe. Yeah, 2016. Very cool. Day Day Mouse uses a lot of like samples of people singing and constructs really cool songs around it. I really dug this album. Every track was really cool, so peep it. This one's called Summer Twilight. DJ Crush. It's a new album of his, came out also this year. I don't know what the kanji says, but it's his new effort, and it's double album. It looks like one disc is with lyrics and one is just instrumental. I listened to a couple tracks so far, and it sounds to be like normal DJ Crush stuff. You know, he's kind of like hip hop style. There's people rapping over his beats in this first album. The second one, I guess, is just the instrumentals. I've followed him for a long time, but in any case, it's cool. What I've heard so far. I had a heck of a time finding this one. I was specifically looking for it. It is the new album by Tofu Beats. I had to ask for it several times, and I found it at like an Express Tower record, surprisingly. I had heard, actually someone contacted me about this and said they weren't too happy with the new album, and I gotta agree. I would say that it's not my favorite. It's probably like my second least favorite thing that he's released, even though it's his new album. There's some good tracks on here, but overall, I didn't like it as much as his prior efforts. So it's a cool album, but I think it's kind of like a lot of like he's moving more towards like the hip hop rapping stuff, which is fine, but I just think that I like the melodies and stuff in other albums, even though there's some fine ones on here. Overall, it's all right. Okay, these next soundtracks you will dig. I went with Matt, Papa, and Jess to Akihabara, and while we were there, we went to a really cool store where we found this. Super Mario 3 soundtrack on mini disc. Not mini disc, but the mini CD. Super cool. You open it up, there's like a picture of a Famicom, slide out the disc. The disc looks awesome. Everything about this is awesome. Look at that. Ah, it's so pretty. It's awesome. I listened to this earlier today. It's exactly what you'd think it is. It's Mario 3, the end. The best Mario. Controversy? Maybe. I love it. In the comments, Super Mario 3 versus Super Mario World, go. Super Mario 3. They're both great, but Super Mario 3. I won't open this one up because it's the same thing, but this one, you got lock set, gyro set. But yeah, the Gyromite soundtrack, actually pretty good. I never played the game, of course, because I don't have a Rob, so never played it, but the soundtrack's nice. Matt Papa pointed out this Castlevania 1 through Castlevania 3. He was actually gonna buy it, and he changed his mind, and it's like, is it okay if I buy it? He's like, yeah, totally. So I ended up buying it. Really awesome because it's Castlevania. Need I say any more? There's a whole bunch of tracks. There's 33 tracks on here. Really cool. Castlevania 1 through 3, bomb. This is interesting. So we got Pokemon. It's got all the original Pokemons there. Well, they got green in Japan. And so it's all the Pocket Monster games. And this would be the soundtrack, you'd think, but it's not. The first 3 or 4 tracks, I think, are, you know, from the soundtrack. And then the rest of them are the cries of the Pokemon, like the little battle cries of the Pokemon, followed by a description of the Pokemon in Japanese, kind of in the Pokedex voice. If you remember, the English version even sounds similar, but it's just like the Pokedex. It's a Caterpie. Caterpie's characteristics are blah, blah, blah. So it goes into like their height and their weight and their characteristics. So it's just like, meow, Bulbasaur, blah, 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 blah. But it's in Japanese. Really interesting. I mean, it's cool. It comes with a little art book. This came out in 2016, it looks like. But yeah, a little art book. It's got the CD. The art book includes like the Pokemon that are on the track. It's only 72 tracks, so it doesn't have all the Pokemon, I don't think. But there's pictures of the old artwork from them, talking about them. It's got the map of the place and stuff. Just cool, really cool. Also pointed out to me by Matt Papa and Jess, and I think Jess got the other one. There were 2 and we both got this, so it's like, yeah, just listening to Pokemon cries. Wow, it's awesome. Interesting. So just like last year, bought a bunch of beer, and when I was out there, they had these little promotional items. When you bought Ebisu, they came with these little keychain-like things. I mean, you get the coolest stuff when you buy pretty much anything in Japan. They just come up with all these awesome promotional materials. Everything's very limited, everything's very seasonal. It's like, you wanna get it. It's just, oh man, I gotta get that before it goes away. And of course I'm in Japan, so my time's limited anyway. I collected quite a few of these. There's no open container laws. You can just walk around with the beer. It's awesome. While we're on the topic of beer, I did go to Ebisu Beer Gardens. I wore my Ebisu beer shirt, in which I heard someone say that was cute, but it's probably like, oh, what a knucklehead kind of thing. But there's like little styrofoam balls in there meant to look like head at the top of the beer, but a little keychain. So cool. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it is super cool. So we got that at the end. It wasn't like a tour or anything. It was kind of like a restaurant, which I read reviews. The restaurant was supposedly not very delicious, but we tried a bunch of different beers, stuff that you couldn't get. They had like a craft beer and they had a dark beer and just different kinds. But Ebisu is made by Sapporo, I think. So you probably know Sapporo beer, but Ebisu is one that we don't have available in the States that I'm aware of. So it was just kind of a cool thing. It's like a very unique Japanese beer thing, so had to go do it. Very cool. When we went to Tsukiji Fish Market, there was someone that was selling magnets, the little Tsukiji magnets. These were actually handmade, apparently, including this fish head. It's got a little sign in his mouth that says Tsukiji, and he had it all custom packed and everything. Super nice. Magnets, they stick together like magnets are known to do. This is really in no particular order. So I was talking about when we went to Akihabara with Matt and Jess, we ended up playing Crane Game, and I had to buy this. It's like a little sushi roll with a Sanrio character. I don't know what his name is, like Poochie or something like that. I don't know what his name is. He's a little French dog, I guess. He's got the little beret or something. Anyway, he looks like he's in a sushi roll, and I had to buy it because there's his butt, like hanging out the back. They just don't shy away from anatomy in Japan. There's the butt and his little butthole. So of course I would have to get it. Anyway, I don't know what this is, what practical use is, but there's a butt. Practical use, there doesn't have to be practical use. The walking stick I showed you earlier on the 5th station, it came with this. This is the Japanese character for now, and it looks like Mount Fuji at the top of it, so they kind of drew it to make like that. So it says Mount Fuji now. So very clever. I was glad I studied Japanese. Japanese came in very handy while I was there, but I don't know kanji well enough to tell you what that says. Something about Mount Fuji and the height of it, I think. The end. I got this Godzilla hand towel that looks like the famous woodblock print that I have everywhere. I've got a shirt like this, I've got a woodblock print, but Godzilla. Suddenly Godzilla. So just really cool. You got like the Sakura here, which doesn't appear in the original painting, but you also have, you know, the men in the boat, and he's destroying the men in the boat here. Very cool. I could never use this as a hand towel. This is totally gonna get displayed on my wall somewhere. But I got this in Ginza. We went to a ton of places in Japan that I just couldn't tell you about. I tried to pick the highlights because there's just so much. Just random stuff. When we were walking from Shinjuku Station to our Airbnb the first night, there was a lady in a kimono that was just handing these out, and Brandon just instinctively grabbed one, so I grabbed one. But Fresco's like a pachinko slot place. But it's cool, a little promotional item. You need this in the summer. Oh my gosh, is it hot. And humid. Humid is the problem. I mean, I can deal with hot, but humid, I'm from Colorado. It is dry, and I like it like that. When we went to Baird Beer in Harajuku, we got this Japan beer Times. It is just a little magazine about Japan beer, but it's cool. Good practice, possibly, if it's in Japanese. Yep. You may have noticed that the sticker was worn on my walking stick there, so I asked for another sticker, and they gave me like 5 other stickers, so that's cool. Can replace that sticker. Got worn, obviously, when I was using it to walk up. When I was in that little nostalgic lane in Odaiba I told you about, kind of near the sushi restaurant, I found this item. It's a little keychain. Unfortunately, for them, I suppose, this one was already open. I did not open it, but I knew what I was getting before I got it. And it's a little lucky tube. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, I don't know what they're called in Japanese, but that's what it is. In that same store, I got this bag. Famicom bag. Oh, it's awesome. On the side, it's got the controllers, just like on the Famicom controllers, and it actually has a little place to put things. What? You can put things in the side here where the controller is, just a little pocket there and a little pocket there, but it's a pretty big bag, deep bag, and it's, yeah, Famicom, it's awesome. So we're obviously getting into video gamey stuff now. When we went to Hamazushi, the place where you could actually slide your plates in the conveyor belt sushi restaurant place, this was the toy capsule that rolled out, and you notice it looks like a Pokemon ball. So there's always limited time things in Japan. I guess till the end of that month we were there, or something like that. They had little promotional items, and I guess a certain number of people would win these fantastic prizes. I don't remember what the prizes were, but this is like a little roll of Pokemon. I don't know if you can see it, but there's Pokemon on this. I don't know what it is. Let's open it and find out. Yeah, it's totally a roll of stickers. Interesting. That's going in the display cabinet, as are most of these things probably. Quick side thingy before we get into video games. I bought these little, what are the pop figures or whatever. They got BoJack Horseman. BoJack Horseman ones. I love that show. And there's like the new seasons coming in September, so I had to get that. Mr. Peanut Butter. I just like it. I didn't get them in Japan, I just ordered them online. Okay, and that's the end of that. Since I already talked about it, we got the Samurai Pizza Cats game, but it's like Kato Ninden something or other. I don't know. Matt helped me get this because he speaks Japanese better than I do, way better. So anyway, he found this game for me at that awesome shop. And it was, you know, like I said, about twice the price, but I was glad to pay it. Beat this game, super awesome game, I love it. Remember Samurai Pizza Cats? So awesome. You may know this as a not good game, but my dad and I played the heck out of Super Pitfall when I was young, so I just thought it was kind of cool to show my dad. Here's the artwork for Japan. I think it's a lot cooler. It looks like a funner game, which, you know, it's fun in a way, but very difficult. Anyway, I just really like the artwork. That's about it. It's the same game. And I got a few bucks off because it was yellow and dirty. Transformers. Oh man, this game is hard, notoriously hard. I played it recently with some friends, and this game is very hard, but I just wanted to play it, you know, for memories. Wagyan Lando 2. This is one of those Wagyan Land games. I've talked about them before. I think I already own the second one, but this one was in the big cart, so I wanted to have it. Moai-kun. You know, Konami always has those Moais. I don't know what their obsession is, but this is a game. He got his own game, Moai-kun. And in this game, it's like a little puzzle game. Mamoru mo semeru mo. I have no idea what that means. I don't remember what that means. But this is a weird game. You walk around shooting a water gun and your water pressure dissipates and then you can't shoot for crap. And it's interesting. It's like a platformer. I haven't played it much, but I did play all these a little bit. Takahashi Meijin something something. It's Adventure Island 3. Yeah, what more can I say about it? It's in a box. Super cool. It was 22 bucks for the game complete in box. Awesome. Paimon 2. You remember last year I talked about Paimon? Maybe not, but it's a weird game. I actually liked the first Paimon better, and I played this and it was kind of, I didn't play it much. Takahashi Meijin 2. This is the Adventure Island 2 done. Sweet Home. Sweet Home, remember? You can find repro carts of this in English, but here's the Japanese one. It wasn't too expensive, so I thought it'd be worth it. I plugged it in and I was like, oh man, I need to study more. Famicom Jump from Shonen Jump, right? Basically, this is a series of comics, comic books, comic strips, really. And they made a video game about it. Look at all those characters. There's some you might recognize. You definitely have Goku from Dragon Ball. You got someone from like Junkman or whatever it's called. I don't recognize most of these characters, but anyway, it's a game. I remember Audino played it, so I wanted to check it out, and it's difficult. Speaking of Audino, here's Game Center CX. We got this game, and it was called Retro Game Challenge, but there it is, but it's Game Center CX. I actually got it at a Hard Off, which Hard Off is a cool secondhand store, and it came in a case and it said 10 bucks, and it had like 9 games, and I was like, awesome. And then when I got to the counter, he's like, which ones do you want? I was like, oh, 10 bucks each. I had no idea. This is a Goemon game I didn't know about, and I guess I just never, I don't know. I just really don't research things that much, but Goemon game on DS, I don't think I even knew about. Haven't played it yet, really looking forward to it. Zelda DX on Game Boy Color. It's just different artwork. I don't know if there's anything different about the game, but it's the same one we got as far as I know. Ten-Kun Beat Breaker, something, I don't know. All I know is there's like an angel guy with a runny nose, and there's his peeps. I just saw that, I was like, yep, I gotta get it, whatever it is. And it's really just a puzzle game as far as I can tell, but had to have it. It's Game Boy Color. Shonen Ashibe or something like that. It's a friggin' seal, the seal adventures of a seal. I don't know. Goma-chan no Yuenchi Taiboken. It's like the big adventure of this seal. I don't know. It just looked adorable. Haven't played it. Super Bomberman 4, which actually I'm hoping will work with this next item. I know that Bomberman 2 has 4-player capabilities, but here's a Bomberman multi-tap for Super Nintendo. That's bomb, literally. Parodius da. It's gonna be the Parodius game on Super Nintendo. I've talked about it before. It's, you know, parody of Galaga games, basically. Really cute shooter. It's a cute 'em up. Papu-kun or Papua-kun or something like that. This was a game that I bought last year on Game Boy, and I didn't know it was on Super Nintendo. Wonder Project on Super Nintendo. This is gonna be an RPG, so it'll be difficult for me to play, but I bought it because I bought this. Wonder Project J2 on Nintendo 64. So this game I remember reading about before it never came out in America, and I always wanted to play it, and I'm probably still not capable of playing it because Japan, too much Japanese, but I want to try it someday. Doraemon on Nintendo 64. If you don't know Doraemon, he's basically like the Mickey Mouse of Japan, very popular character since the 70s, comic books or something like that. I just thought I should probably check this game out because Doraemon, and it was $4.80. It was cheap. Torokyu 64. I've played it before on PlayStation 2. This game never came out in America, but I did play it, and it's all right. It's a racing game. Ganbare Goemon, something or other on Game Boy Color, and I don't think I knew this existed. There's like so many, for a series that I love so much, you would think I would research it more and have these games. I have most of them, but I didn't even know about this, nor, actually, I think I own this one, but this is a complete version of it on Game Boy. Awesome, another Ganbare Goemon game. And this game I know I own on Game Boy Advance? Yes. But this game on PlayStation I did not own. So it's the same game I think, but it'll just be cool to have it on PlayStation. I'm trying to complete that Goemon collection. Yeah, $1,000 for that soundtrack though. Ah, so frustrating. So I went to a Mega Don Quixote in Tachikawa. It's a really nice department store kind of thing. And I saw one of these plugged in. FC Home 88, so that would stand for Famicom Home. And I'm sure you've seen many Famiclones, this being one of them. It has 88 games on it. One of them I was playing was like you're like a little cloud guy or something like that. And it seemed like, that's cool, it's a platformer. I played it and it's fairly generic. These 88 games on here are extremely generic. You've got Cowpoke, The Worms, Falling Fruit, Jumping Kid, Sky Zone, Sea Garden, to name a few. Just a bunch of generic, really goofy games. They're really short, you can play them. It's just like, it's pretty much somewhere between Atari and NES quality is what I would say. It's just kind of like, the graphics are almost like NES, but like the level of depth is about Atari 2600. So you play it for a couple minutes, you go, okay, and then you move on with your life. The really cool thing about this though, this was like 20 bucks, I'd say. I don't believe I noticed it when I bought it because it's meant to look like a little Famicom, but I didn't notice that there's an actual slot in here where you can put games, and guess what? It plays Famicom games perfectly fine. I have had no problems with this. This is how I beat Samurai Pizza Cats. And you would think I had played it a different way though because of what I'm about to show you, but I didn't. I'm about to show you something. I was fortunate enough to come across a $35, I think it was $35, Famicom, and it's complete. It's got everything you need to play Famicom games on it. It's even got the little controller with the microphone in it. One of the things that I really wanted, you know, I have Takeshi's, it's known as a really crappy game. Audino played it. You've got to sing karaoke into the microphone, which I look forward to messing with. I tried to plug this in, however, and the RF switch is maybe dirty or something like that, because I got it to work, but it's like really crappy looking. Like it looked awful on the TV. Maybe I need to try a different TV, I'm not sure. Tried to hook it up to a fairly modern TV, but I followed all these instructions online to get it to work. It works, it just didn't look very good. So I ended up hooking up my Famicom games to that little cheap $20 thing over there, which actually worked better. But this is something I've wanted for a long time. Every time I've seen it in the US, it's like $100 for a complete one, or you'd have to import it online for a ton of money. But this one came, and I had to ask the lady, does this work as is? And she's like, yep, and it does. So I was really, really happy to get this. This was like one of the best pickups. I was able to pack everything into my suitcase. I didn't have to ship as much back. All I had to ship back this time was really just the stick, the walking stick from Mount Fuji. So really awesome, super excited to have this. Best pickup of the Japan trip, I'd say. Holy cow, you guys, I've been talking forever. I'm really sorry it took so long, but I just wanted to share that with you. Really cool pickups, awesome trip. I hate that I got sick, because I hate being sick more than anything. Took up half the month of that, but the other half was Japan. It was really, really awesome. So the awesomeness of the month definitely won over the crappy part of the month, but now the month is over and I have nothing to show for it but this. Sorry about that. And thanks for sticking with it and everything. Really long video. Try not to do that, but I always talk too much. You know how that goes. My next effort's going to be working on the next video game review, so please stay tuned for that. I'm going to try to not put out anything but another video with the video game review in it, and I just put everything else on the back burner for now. So anyway, probably said that too much. Have a lovely month, and I'll see you next month. Pew.